Alrighty, y'all, so I'm back this week. I appreciate you guys for tuning back in. Going to be showing you guys some of the items that's sold here recently, kind of giving you more of a behind the scenes look today, and just wrapped up April. Man, I can't believe we've already finished like the 4th month of the year, so things are just rolling by really fast. But let's jump right into it. Okay, so starting off bottom of the barrel, low dollar sales. I usually pick up like tank tops, running shorts, usually if I can find them at the Goodwill bins for like under like $1. And normally my size cutoff is, I like to stay around like a medium and up. This one right here is like a Fabletics. I believe the model is called like a Tyra tank top. It's a plus size, a women's 2X, so really good, but even then still don't sell for a bunch of money. I think this one right here sold for $5 plus shipping, so the buyer is all in for I think like 11 or 12 bucks. And again, I picked these up knowing that they're not going to sell for much money, and I'm looking in these situations to turn like somewhere between like a 25 cent to $1 investment, usually into like a $4 or $5 profit. And this right here is like a Nike Legend t-shirt right here. Pretty generic, but these do sell pretty good if you pick up the right size. When I say pretty good, not for a lot of money, but usually you can sell them on like the quicker side. This one right here came from the Goodwill bins, probably like 50 cents, and I think it sold for like $6.50 plus shipping. So again, buyers into this one I believe for like 12 or 13 bucks. So looking to turn, like I said, 50 cents into probably like a $4 or $5 profit. And this right here is a Columbia Oregon Duck flannel. I believe this is like a women's plus size 2X. And I've been finding like a lot of these new at Ross for like only like $8. And for pre-owned, I picked this one up from the bins, probably like under $1. And it sold for like 16 plus shipping. Ross has like a lot of teams. I haven't found any Oregon, but I've been finding like, I think I found like LSU, OU, and only for like $8, and picking those up all day, because even pre-owned, you can still get like 15 and up for these right here. And I don't know if you can tell, but these are pretty huge. I believe these are like 4X. These are like a pair of Columbia PFG like half moon shorts for men. Pick these up from the Goodwill bins. They probably maybe cost like $1.50, $2 tops. Buyer paid $10 plus shipping. The shipping on these were a little bit higher because I mean you may have to put this one in like probably like a flat rate envelope. Anyway, shipping was $8.99, so the buyers in these right here with taxes probably for like 20 bucks. These right here are a pair of Columbia, I believe the model is called like the Everyday Go-To Pants. Pick these up from the Goodwill bins. You find like a ton of Columbia here in the Pacific Northwest. I believe Columbia is based like right here in Portland, so we find like a ton of it here, by the boatloads. But anyway, these right here probably cost like, they're not really that heavy, probably like somewhere around $1. And they sold for $18.74 plus shipping. Alrighty, also like I was saying, April over and done with. The first 4 months of the year in the books, going by really fast like it usually always does. Did about 13,000 and some change in sales in April, pretty consistent to what we did in March. I was hoping to have like some higher numbers month over month, but I mean, you list the items that you find, and outside of that, it's kind of out of your hands. Listing about 25 items per day. I would love to be able to get that up to about 30 per day, but the problem is finding that much quality product every time you go out. Right now I'm going out like Monday through Friday, and on average I'm coming home with somewhere between like 20 and 25 good items, because I just bypass the stuff that, you know, just not going to be worth listing. It's not going to bring in the most profit. If you're kind of curious about how much money we actually get to keep, it's usually somewhere, for me personally in the model I run, somewhere between like 50 and like 52%. The way I normally explain it to my wife, she doesn't really care about what the sales are. I tell her, if you want to make 5,000 in a month, we need to sell 10. You want to make 10, we need to sell 20. That's kind of how it's always been for me, because even though I'm doing more retail arbitrage this year than I have last year and maybe even some years past, if I find like 140, 150 items in a given week, about 110 to 120 of those items come from the Goodwill bins more than likely. So my cost is still really low, which keeps, you know, the profit a little bit higher. But until I can kind of find more inventory, I'm just going to keep trucking along and just kind of let the chips fall the way they fall. This right here is like a Marmot, like a Precept, like rain jacket. This model usually does really good when you can find it. Even in the small, this one sold for 25 bucks plus shipping, and I believe I picked this one up from the Goodwill bins, probably no more than like $1.50. These are a pair of like just Adidas, like energy running climacool, I believe, like leggings. Not going to really sell these for much money, but if I can find them in the right size, I always pick them up. Pick these up from the bins, probably like 50 cents, and they sold for 10 bucks plus shipping. This is just like a basic like Nike lightweight hoodie right here. It's actually a pretty big size. This one right here is a 4XL, but this one sold within like a couple of weeks for, I believe, 13 plus shipping, and picked it up from the bins, probably no more than like $1. This one right here is like really light. Alright, y'all, so the biggest thing that's been working for me and my business so far this year is going back through some of these bins that you guys see behind me and just kind of trying to figure out like, why is this item still here? Why hasn't it sold? And my goal is I do all of the reselling work during the day, and like right before dinner, there's usually like a spare hour while my wife is kind of getting everything together. The kids are just kind of hanging out. I usually use that hour to like pick up one of these bins and just go through it. And I've been getting a lot of great results doing that. I kid you not, like I've been going through like jackets here lately and looking up like why some of these jackets hadn't sold. I think one of the biggest problems is I think I had a lot of stuff kind of overpriced. Some of the stuff had been in these bins for like year and a half, and I've had like just this week I've updated like some of the keywords, changed the prices, and literally jackets that I've had in these bins for all this time are starting to sell. So that gives me like the motivation to continue to do it, because I think you can just kind of take the approach to let the items sell when they're going to sell, and that can work too. But I think if you take the proactive approach, you can kind of get some results a little bit faster. Like I was saying, one of the things that's been working for me is going back through some of my bins and just trying to figure out why the particular item hadn't sold. Is it priced too high, or is the keywords bad? And this was a prime example right here. I believe the keywords were just off on these right here, because I went back through my bin, changed up the keyword, adjusted the price a little bit, and I kid you not, these right here sold not even within like a week. And I had these previously probably for like a couple of years, and I'm like, man, why are y'all like disrespecting the ducks like that? I believe these are like a pair of like Oregon leggings. So initially when I found them a long time ago, I thought they would sell pretty fast, but they just sat and sat and sat and sat. But I picked them up from the bins, probably like no more than $1, and I finally was able to get like 13 plus shipping out of these. Now I'm getting into some of the shoe sales, and I know you guys are probably like, what's going on with those? So what I normally do with all my shoes is I plastic wrap them. I think I mentioned like maybe like in 2 or 3 videos back that I started doing this like when I first started reselling, and just kind of stayed with it, and it works. And I picked this up, I believe, from Costco for like 20 bucks, and so not really expensive, and you can usually get like a lot of shoes wrapped with it. But anyway, I already plastic wrapped these just ahead of time, just for the sake of time. These are just like a pair of Nike slides. Still being like super picky on slides, because some of them don't sell for what they once did. Pick these up from the bins, probably for like $1.50 tops, and these right here sold for 12 bucks plus shipping. And these right here are a pair of Adidas. I believe the model is like the light racers, and these are actually new, but the light racers usually don't sell for much money. And I picked these up from a friend of mine who was looking to sell some shoes. A lot of people that I shop with know that shoes is kind of what I normally look to get. So he has some shoes, he doesn't really sell them, so he was just looking to unload them. I think I bought like 15 or 20 pair from him, and I think like the total came out to somewhere around like a $10 average per pair. He was cool with that, and I think I sold these right here for 40 bucks plus shipping. So this right here is a pair of Nike Dunks. I believe this model is like the reverse Panda. They're for grade school though, and grade schools usually don't sell for a ton of money. Picked these up from the bins, probably like no more than like somewhere between $2 to $3, and sold these for 35 bucks plus shipping. These are a pair of UGG. I believe the model is called like the Jazz Platform, like slip-on shoes. Picked Picked these up from the Goodwill bins on a day where they had like a ton of Uggs there. Probably like, maybe like 5 or 6 months ago. Probably like $2 to $3, and sold them for $20 plus shipping. These are a pair of Adidas Superstar, but this model is like the slip-on version. I believe these are like for women. Picked them up from the Goodwill bins, probably like, theme here, somewhere between like $2 to $3, and was able to get 30 plus shipping for these right here. When I was in real estate school, the main thing that they would always tell us that the work you do today or the prospecting you do is going to end up showing up in your bank account in 90 to 120 days. And I've always kind of kept that concept and mentality in the back of my head. So I may be working today and not getting the results that I'm looking to get, but I know if I continue to prime the pump, continue to chop wood and haul water, the efforts that I'm expending today will eventually show up and pay off in 3-4 months. But the thing is, you just got to kind of have the persistence and the stamina to be able to endure when you don't really see any results from the activity that you're doing. So I've always kind of had that mentality. And one of my favorite books, I usually read it at least once a year. I've read it over and over. I love the book called The Compound Effect. It basically talks about how like small disciplines and small activities add up. If you see somebody who's super wealthy, with few exceptions, they probably saved and invested for over decades. You see somebody who's super fit, super lean, they probably been exercising and working out for years. So you just gotta kind of have the mentality to where, kind of to translate that into reselling, what can you do today to move the ball just an inch further down the field? And that's kind of how I look at my business. That's why I started going through a lot of these bins, just to try to speed up some of these processes and try to just be a little bit better today than I was yesterday.
This might be all that I know. Think it's okay. I've got a long way to grow. At my own pace. Go the long way. No one taught me how to walk, but I figured it out fine.